The certified letter ordered demolition. From my HOA, my shed. 14 days, $50 a day. The shed predates the HOA itself. It hit my doormat at 10:14 a.m. on a Tuesday. I didn't need to open it to know it was trouble. The return address was bold, sans serif, and aggressive. Oak Creek Homeowners Association, Compliance Division. Inside, a single sheet of heavy bond paper. Notice of violation. Unapproved structure. Detached outbuilding. They meant my shed. Remedy, demolition, and removal of debris within 14 days. Fine schedule, $50 per day. Retroactive to first notice, which they claimed was January 4th, escalating to $100 per day after non-compliance. I sat at the kitchen island, adjusted my glasses, read it twice. The total demanded immediately was $1,450, my shed. The 12 by 10 cedar structure sitting on a concrete slab in the northeast corner of my lot. I looked out the window. It was still there, weathered gray, solid, unobtrusive. Here's the kicker. I bought this house in 2001. The shed was already standing. The HOA wasn't incorporated until 2005. I folded the letter, creased the edge sharp enough to cut skin. They wanted to play hardball over a grandfathered structure. I'm a retired logistics coordinator. I don't do panic. I do inventory. I walked to the filing cabinet in the study. Bottom drawer. I pulled the house file, 2 inches thick. Deed, survey, inspection report from purchase. I scanned the 2001 inspection. Outbuilding. Good condition. Power run to sub-panel. There it was. Proof of existence 4 years prior to their charter. I figured a simple phone call would fix it. I was wrong. I called the number on the letterhead. Voicemail. Leave a message for the Architecture Review Committee. I left one. Concise. Name, address. Violation number V24902. Structure predates HOA. Please check your records. Call me back. 2 days passed. Thursday afternoon, I saw her, Brenda, the new ARC chair. She was walking the perimeter of my fence line, holding an iPad like a shield. I went out. Brenda, I said. Kept my voice level. She didn't look up immediately. Tapped the screen. Mr. Henderson, I see the structure is still up. It's staying up. It was here when I bought the place, before the board existed. She finally looked at me. Thin smile. The kind that doesn't reach the eyes. Common misconception, she said. The CC&Rs, Article 6, Section C, clearly state all exterior structures must have current board approval on file. We did an audit. You have no file. Because it was built in the 90s, I said. You can't apply a 2005 rule to a 1999 build. Without a permit on file with us. It's an unauthorized addition. The clock is ticking, Tom. The fine doubles next week. She turned and walked to the next house. I stood in the driveway, fists clenched. Checked the mail an hour later. Another letter. Notice of non-compliance. Updated fine. $1,550. She wasn't bluffing. She was bureaucratic Teflon. I went back to my files. I had the inspection report. But that was a private document. She wanted a permit. I dug deeper. The original survey from the title company was blurry. A photocopy of a photocopy. You could see the house outline, the driveway. The corner where the shed stood was smudged, ink bleed. It looked like a blob, not a building. Sloppy, I muttered. I poured a coffee. Black. If I couldn't prove the shed was legally permitted by the county before 2005, she'd leverage the unauthorized addition clause. She'd argue I built it secretly in 2006. I needed the county records. Friday morning, I drove to the county annex. The place smells like floor wax and old dust. I took a number. The clerk, a guy named Rick, who looked like he'd been there since the Carter administration. Called me up. Help you? Need a permit history. 412 Oak Drive. He tapped his keyboard, one finger typing. System goes back to 2008, digital. Before that, it's microfiche or physical archives in the basement. I need 1998 to 2000. Rick sighed. A heavy, tragic sigh. Fill out this requisition form. Item 4. Cost is $12 per search hour. I filled it out. How long? Maybe today, maybe Tuesday. I paid the $12. I'll wait, I said. I sat on a plastic bench for 3 hours. I watched people argue about parking tickets. I watched a contractor try to explain a drainage grade to a wall of indifference. My phone buzzed. Email from the HOA portal. Lien warning. Outstanding balance. $1,650. Administrative fee. Added $250 total. $1,900. I felt a tightening in my chest. Not fear. Anger. The kind of anger that sharpens your focus. Rick waved me over at 3:15 p.m. Found something. He slid a grainy printout across the laminate counter. Building permit. P99-0421. Issued October 12th, 1999. Description. 12 by 10. Utility shed on slab. Final inspection signed off December 20th, 1999. There it was, the Holy Grail, signed by a county inspector named J. Miller. Can I get a certified copy? I asked. $2 per page. Need the seal? I need the seal, the signature, and the date stamped so hard it cracks the table. Rick cracked a smile. Coming right up. I had the ammo. Now I needed the venue. The monthly HOA board meeting was scheduled for the following Tuesday. Community Center, 7 p.m. The weekend was long. My wife Ellen saw the lien warning on the iPad. Tom, she said. Her voice was thin. A lien? On the house? It's invalid, Elle. I have the papers. They can foreclose for unpaid dues and fines here. I read about it. The Andersons lost their rental that way. We aren't the Andersons. And I'm not losing the house over a shed. Just pay them, or tear it down. It's just wood. It's not the wood, I said. It's the principle. If we fold on this, next month it's the fence, then the driveway width. She didn't look convinced. I didn't blame her. The paperwork made it look like we were criminals. Tuesday came. I wore a pressed button-down, tucked in. I brought 3 copies of the certified permit. I brought a copy of the state property code, specifically Chapter 209 regarding arbitrary enforcement. I arrived at 6:50 p.m. The room was half full, mostly people complaining about trash pickup schedules. Brenda sat at the center of the table. She saw me, adjusted her glasses, didn't nod. Open forum started at 7:30 p.m. Next, Brenda said, Thomas Henderson. Issue, compliance dispute. I stood up, walked to the podium. The dispute isn't about compliance, I said. It's about jurisdiction. Mr. Henderson, Brenda interrupted. We've reviewed your file. You have accrued $2,100 in fines. We are prepared to forward this to legal for collection. You have 2 minutes. I don't need 2 minutes. I pulled the certified packet from my folder. This is county permit, P99-0421. I placed it on the table in front of the treasurer, a quiet guy named Steve. Date of issue, October 1999. Date of final county inspection, December 1999. Brenda didn't look at the paper. She looked at me. That's a county document. Our bylaws require HOA approval. Your bylaws, I said, voice steady, were filed in 2005. I have the incorporation papers here too. I dropped the second document. You cannot retroactively enforce a permit requirement on a structure that legally existed 6 years before your organization was formed. It's called prior non-conforming use. It's grandfathered. We have broad discretion, Brenda said. She was gripping her pen hard. To maintain property values. You have discretion, I said. You don't have a time machine. I turned to the room. Furthermore, State Code 2109.005 prohibits an association from levying fines for unapproved improvements if the association cannot produce a record of a prohibition existing at the time of construction. I looked back at Steve. He was reading the permit. Brenda, Steve whispered. It's stamped 1999. It doesn't matter, Brenda hissed. It's an eyesore. We can cite it for maintenance. It was painted last year, I said. It's in better shape than the clubhouse gazebo. A few chuckles from the back. I spoke to the county zoning commissioner yesterday, I added. That was the pivot point. Brenda froze. I asked him if an HOA can override a closed county building permit from 20 years ago. He was very interested. He mentioned something about tortious interference with property rights. I laid the third paper down. The email from the commissioner's office. Subject: Inquiry regarding 412 Oak Drive, HOA overreach. He suggested I bring this to you before he sends his own inspector out to audit the entire neighborhood setbacks. Apparently, he thinks you might be overstepping on more than just sheds. The room went dead silent. An audit. That meant the county looking at everyone's fences, decks, and pools, including the board members. Steve looked at Brenda. We need to table this, Steve said. Fast. No, I said. I want a motion to dismiss the violation and rescind the fines. Tonight. Or I reply to the commissioner tomorrow morning. Brenda looked at Steve. She looked at the other 3 board members. They were all staring at their hands or the table. Nobody wanted a county audit. I moved to dismiss the violation for 412 Oak Drive based on pre-existing evidence, Steve mumbled. Second, said a woman at the end. Brenda's face was splotchy red. All in favor? Steve asked. 4 hands went up. Brenda didn't raise hers. Motion carries, Steve said. Fines rescinded. Mr. Henderson will update the ledger. I want it in writing, I said. Email and hard copy. Within 48 hours. You'll get it, Steve said. I took my papers back. All of them. Thank you for your time. I walked out. My knees didn't shake until I got to the car. I sat in the driver's seat, key in the ignition, didn't turn it, just breathed. $2,100 erased. The house safe. I drove home. The apology letter came 2 days later, signed by the secretary, not Brenda. Administrative error, they called it. Correction of account balance to 0.00. I framed a copy of the 1999 permit, hung it on the inside wall of the shed, right next to the lawnmower. I still see Brenda walking the neighborhood sometimes. She doesn't look at my house. She looks straight ahead. The shed needs a wash. Maybe next week. For now, it stands. And so do I. Quiet morning. Coffee tastes good.